Have you ever felt like you really want to make progress towards a specific health goal, but you're so inundated with how many ways to skin that cat that you're not sure where to start? I've been there, and that's what I help people do. This video is a guide to walk you through how I help people, and there's a lot of free resources in here. There's a lot of knowledge in here that I want to throw out there for the people I might not have the opportunity to work with, so you can DIY, because that's how I got into this. And I really believe in learning by doing and just experimenting in order to progress your health. And I think everybody can do it. So I'm going to walk you through all of that right now. There's a little bit I need to share with you about my experience, because you may not know who the hell that I am. I have been doing all kinds of experiments. This is one of my transformations. I've gone from, on the diet side, everything from vegan, vegetarian, paleo, keto, carnivore, animal-based, and I kind of have my own version of all that now. And I don't believe in diet dogma, but I've tried a lot of things, and I've tried a ton on the lifestyle, blood work, biometrics, nutrition, supplement, hormone, pretty much everything you can think of. I'm just an avid experimenter. I've done all this on myself, but I've also worked with, probably indirectly, because I manage a team at a place called Heart and Soil under a guy named Paul Saladino for a few years. I've seen about 15,000 anecdotes at this point, 1 or 2 degrees removed. And I like to use that as my compass, as opposed to biased research from companies that are paying for certain supplements or products and that kind of thing. And I saw that there was a through line in commonality between these thousands of anecdotes about how people can really encompass everything they want from health without being overwhelmed or getting too in their head. I have a couple of examples I want to share with you, and I want to share the tools as well. And this is, I changed the name and I took out the private information, but these are real documents that I have shared with clients. And before we get into this, I want to let you know what my mission statement is as a coach and having this one-on-one comprehensive, one-stop shop, health liaison kind of business. Is my mission is to guide you to optimal health while navigating diminishing return with your time and with your money. Typically, I work with people who are really busy or high achievers or CEOs, founders, have a family. They just got a lot going on, and they need a one-stop shop they can trust to ensure that all the investments that they're making with their finite resources are the right ones and they'll move the needle. And something that makes me different is I am accessible. I don't have a team that you're talking to. I don't have automated things. I am very hands-on, and I really, really love that. A big part of what I love to do is to educate. My model is to work with people for a time, typically 4 to 6 months. I prefer closer to 6, help them reach their goals. And we build this lifestyle out in the document so that way they can continue to do it on their own after the time that they've worked with me. And you might be like, well, that seems like a stupid business model. It's not, because A, I don't believe in taking advantage of people and digging into their wallets. So after we've worked together and they've learned things and they have this document and they can follow it, then I get more business if they're successful. So it incentivizes me to help them, because then they can send me referrals and it's a win-win. When I first meet with someone, William Turner, you may know him. He is Orlando Bloom in the original Pirates of the Caribbean. I like to have a call with people to make sure I know what are their main goals. So for this particular client, big emphasis on muscle gain, optimizing natural testosterone, and he's a busy guy. He owns a company. He does not want to be taken away from the things that are important to him. There are some other goals that we wanted to fuse into the program, which we have, but that was the main goal. These are the initial metrics I like to help people capture, because between blood work and body composition, which is a DEXA scan, the visual change, so hence the before and after pics, benchmark lifts as functionality, strength, Whoop, or any other device I'll do, Apple, Aura, Garmin, anything. That's how we know if we are over or under training, we're recovering enough, we're sleeping well, we're managing our stress, and we're optimizing all the things we need to optimize in order to get really any kind of goal. We'll do these again at the end to bookmark that 4 to 6 month time period to make sure we did see the progress that we wanted to see. And obviously the conversation is longer, but this is the main thing I'm trying to get out of that first call with people, so then I can reverse engineer where we want to go. As we go through the doc, you can see I don't believe in making things super frilly. I think just being concise and efficient is what we should shoot for. So I like to make notes about what we get from the information like body composition, and then I'll put the one at the end here so we can compare. I like to put expectations for the rate of change during the timeline we're working together. On a chronometer, which I'll show you the app in a minute, I like to put out the average to see how we're progressing in terms of macros and even micros, and what kind the general plan of, okay, based off what we're doing, here's the overview. Now, people don't look at this every week, but they can refer to it if they need to. And again, in the future, when they're done working with me, they can revisit and have a brief understanding of the why behind the why. I'll also prescribe a specific supplementation based off blood work, based off goals, based off of what they're eating and not eating to make sure we have all the bases covered. The benchmark lifts is like you saw in the beginning. It's like, how strong are we in the beginning? And then how strong are we going to be at the end so we can see the actual difference. Blood work's going to look really different based off of age and gender and all these things. And I like to work with a company called Merrick Health. They're amazing, very affordable, much more comprehensive labs than you'll get from your primary care physician or your FMD. And they have a representative who goes through blood work literally all day, every day. And I get to get on a call with them and you so we can get amazing baselines, ask them any questions we need to, execute our program, and then get the ending metrics to compare. Again, no matter what tracker you have, the big things I'm looking for are HRV, resting heart rate, respiratory rate, and sleep quality, especially REM and deep, to make sure that we have a sustainable way to achieve your goals, because burnout, overtraining, all these things is not going to help you in the long run. So I'm very much not into the sexy, short-term, too good to be true idea of health or getting results. I'm much more of a, let's make something that's sustainable, will actually get you the results, and that you can replicate over time. Now, these checklists is interesting. Some of my clients love them. Some really don't use them or don't really need them. But it's just nice, easy reference of what an ideal day looks like. And then they can just go through and it reminds them of what to record or what to do and that kind of thing. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. It changes. But these kinds of things just seem to be helpful for people. And then the weekly checklist is more of an overall feel of how do you think you're doing? Are we hitting at least the main milestones the majority of the time? And then I like to have a summary I update every week about kind of what we're focusing on, our action items we need to check off, and any ongoing wins. And some of these are fun and funny sometimes. That's what the doc looks like. So how do I communicate with my clients about the doc? Well, I use this app called Marco Polo because I like things to be asynchronous. What I mean by that is, originally when I started, we were doing hour-long calls every week, and that's just really hard for people to manage, especially if they're already busy. So Marco Polo, you just pull up the app, you hit record. I get to listen to it on 2 times. So I'm listening and watching you, and I'm writing down all the questions, and then I'm answering all the questions, and you can listen and watch me at 2 times. So at any time during the week, you can send me a question. You can be like, hey, Chris, I didn't quite hit my lift. I'm feeling under-recovered. Should I change my lift for tomorrow, my activity tomorrow? What supplement should I take? What would you have me do? And then I fire a response to them within 24 hours. And it's nice too because it doesn't save it directly to your phone. And as you see scrolling on the bottom there, you can go back and re-listen to anything in the future. So outside of miscellaneous questions, there is a mandatory check-in each week where I run through the entire doc that we looked over, as well as the other apps that we use. And I give people like a 5 to 15 minute summary of like, this is what I'm seeing. This is what you're doing well. This is what I would adjust. Do you have questions for me? And anything like that. So that happens a minimum once a week, but then people can Marco Polo me as much as they need to at any other time to make sure that they feel good about having not only access to me, but a good clarity about taking action behind the program. The nutrition side of things, you've probably heard of MyFitnessPal, hopefully heard of Chronometer. I like Chronometer much better because they're better at tracking micros, and micronutrient intake is almost as important, if not more important, than calories and macros. And a lot of people don't realize that. It affects so much. So it's very easy to use. I'm not going to go into how you use it now, but just know that there's an app on your phone that looks like this. But on the back end, for me, it looks like this. And I can go through and look at every day. I can look at supplements. I can look at calories. And if you have a tracker, it imports the activity up there, as you can see. I can look at micros and see how our micronutrient balances are. All of this. You don't look at this so much, you just log, but I will digest it, and in that weekly summary, every week we'll be updating things on the doc that you saw under Chronometer, as well as you'll hear it from me in the Marco Polos. You can pull up a lot of other reports too that are fun, like in different time ranges to see how we are in caloric surplus or deficit, depending on our goals. It'll tell me what percentage of foods we're eating, all this kind of stuff. So another tool that we use outside Marco Polo, the shared document, and Chronometer is TrueCoach. TrueCoach, you might be familiar with. It's an amazing app. It looks kind of like this. I know it's a little blurry, but basically I'll schedule a workout. You will have reminders. It'll have it in this format you see here in the middle of, you know, like when's the rest? What are you doing? And it's just so easy. You just plug and play. Now on my end, this is what it looks like. I will go in and I will prescribe workouts, and I don't just copy and paste. Every week there is changes to it. Sometimes there's other reminders in here, like if I need stats from somebody on a certain day, and there's everything from steps or hot and cold therapy. Everything you need in terms of activity is going to be in here for you to check off, and you can make notes. That way I have some feedback. We check in over Marco Polo. I will edit the workout for the next week to make sure A, we're progressing, B, we adjust anything to avoid injury, and C, to make things achievable but also challenging. My second client example that I'd like to run through you is, obviously this is not a real person, but I like that name and I like that book/movie. So here we are. This one is a twist, and I wanted to add this. Yes, we looked at DEXA scan, which is body composition, Chronometer. We have an eating plan, all this kinds of stuff. We also, a lot of things that were important to this guy were business success, dating success, and he knew that prioritizing health would help him achieve those things. So we have the initial question here. We have his goal, and then 4 months later, we have how he felt about that change. So there's a whole list of questions and stuff. It's very comprehensive. I don't do this with everybody, but I like to do it if that's important to people. And the reason that I say that is, know that I am extremely flexible. We can cover, and you can have emphasis on any of these subjects over the other ones. But between hormones, body composition, performance/functionality, longevity, blood work, nutrition/eating, lifestyle, stress management, relationships, and 3-year vision or vision planning. Those all are interconnected. And while that might sound like, well, Chris, what's your niche? You don't have a specialization. It's like, no, because I believe that you can't divorce any of those things from another. But it's up to you as a client to let me know which of those areas you'd like us to focus on. So we could do all of them, or we could do 1, 2, or 3 of them. This particular client has some very big challenges with sleep and thyroid. So that's a part of the health side of things we're emphasizing. But what's most helpful for him is actually those checklists. So if you see here, they're duplicated every week. A lot of times I will make a comment. So not only do I sit in Marco Polo, but I'll say, let's stay off of Zen in the afternoons this week to see if that helps with sleep, as it's a stimulant, as an example. And then he can comment back and say, roger that, let's shoot for 5 of 7 days. And then we have this, and so he can look back every week. I won't make this video any longer than it needs to be. I think it's 7 different testimonials in here. I have another 6 on the way. I'm a little behind on this. But if you want to get feedback from people that I've worked with on what was helpful, I highly suggest, honestly, all of these testimonials. They're great, and they're all a little different. So we'll show you that no matter what you want to focus on, we can make that work. The theme that I see a lot is that people are overwhelmed with feeling like they have to do everything to reach their goals. It's actually not the case. People typically think that they need to cut calories to be healthy. That's also typically not the case. In fact, most people need to manage their stress, prioritize sleep, and they can actually eat more of the right things, and it fuels them and it changes their body composition, their hormones, their mental health, their sleep quality for the better. I know that sounds controversial. That's a different video for a different time, but you can be in a slight surplus, and if you have a high enough activity and you're prioritizing the right things, you can have a recomposition where you are getting all the benefits from being a site surplus. Again, those are not just physiological, they're psychological, and you can trim some fat at the same time and you just feel great as opposed to depleted. A few other things I've worked with people on. Haley is a really good one to listen to on detoxing mold. She had it for years. Not only did she change her body composition, but we got her mold free and her energy is amazing now. Eli is an owner of a large travel company and he is always on the go. So his struggle was, okay, what do we do when we travel? How do I still move the needle forward on my health without taking away the things that I love about travel, especially because I need to live the life that I help people achieve through my business. Luke, great guy, dad, hard worker, lives in the country. He's very concerned about being physically fit and capable and being a good example to his kids and for his wife. And so he changed his body composition a ton, despite having young kids, a stressful job, and maybe not access to things that you might have in a city. And he crushed it. He had a great body recomposition. His wife, actually, Michaela, I didn't work with her at the same level as I did him, but we've talked quite a few times. I gave her a few pointers, and it changed her outlook on health completely. So those are a few that I would really suggest listening to. I know that was a lot, but I don't believe in withholding the keys to success or the keys to the castle. I'm really here to help people integrate those things. I'm here for those people who need me. So if you are a person who's like, yes, I need to work with you one-on-one, schedule a discovery call with me today. That's free, and we'll talk about what that would look like. If you're somebody who's like, I'd love that, but I can't afford it, I have a free ebook. You can find that in my YouTube profile. It will help you build out everything I just showed you in a DIY format. Also have a lot of podcasts that I've been on where I talk about these things, as well as podcasts that have taught me these things. So you can find that resource as well. I'm here for questions, feedback. And again, it sounds cliche, but I really believe in doing this because I learned through people that took the time to set out these guides and inspire me and help me find my version of optimal health. So please take advantage of the resources I got out there. That's why they're there. Thanks for listening. Chat soon.